All right, everybody. Well, this is the first time, totally the first time we did this show today. The game ended just 5 minutes ago. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. But you know what else is fine? The Leafs are fine, I think. Auston Matthews is more than fine. He's on another planet. So is William Nylander. William Nylander is looking to make bank. And we're back. I'm Fouad Suleiman, and on the other line, with fixed internet, Armaan.
We'll see. Yeah, we're hoping, crossing our fingers.
Crossing our fingers here.
Definitely not the second time we're streaming.
No. The internet's great. He has Beanfield internet, I think, probably. Anyway, so the game. It was a 7-4 finish, I believe, because I stopped watching because I had to set this thing up to go right live. And yeah, what a game. It was a great another roller coaster a little bit. Like, it wasn't quite the roller coaster of the Montreal game where it was like, we're great, and then we suck, and then we're great, and then we suck again. It was, at first, they were getting hemmed in. It looked a little bit testy, looked a little bit weird, looked a little squirrely, but they pulled it out. I mean, that third period, it was like they were like, no, that's it. We're enough of this funny business. We're laying the smack down.
Yeah. I mean, it was looking a little dicey, like we said before, with that 4-3 into the third period, but they just pulled it off. I mean, again, we talked about Matthews going for that back-to-back hat trick. Hasn't been done since OV in 2017, and before that, it was last done in 1917. It's not exactly common for a player to start the season with back-to-back hat tricks. So, yeah, insane game. Matthews was amazing. Nylander was incredible. He had a silky smooth goal as well. Just incredible start to the season for us.
This
2-0.
team, like the two games. I mean, the beginning of the season, it's hard to even just talk about anything but just like we're just starting out. But they are honestly just like they are pure straight entertainment. Like, unbridled television.
And what's hilarious about this season is it's all offense. Like we can talk about the defensive structure soon, and it's still very early season, so that's expected. You're gonna make mistakes, but Samsonov has not had a good 2 games, and that's okay. Again, still early season, but it's made for some really entertaining hockey just because it's been so back and forth. Like, we went up 4-1, and then within 30 seconds they tied it up 4-2, and then a few minutes later, it was 4-3. Like, really entertaining hockey, and when they turn it on, man, this team is amazing.
Yeah,
like in terms of just pure skill, like they can really score goals in a flurry. I was so impressed by the offense today.
Yeah, like honestly, like. You can't start or end without we started, but Auston Matthews, Poppy, he is the league's Poppy right now. He's saying, I'm your Poppy, like Eddie Guerrero used to say back in the day, because he is you can see the game is slowed down for him. He's seeing stuff before it happens. It's like the Matrix. And he scored 3 goals, like 3 completely different angles of goal. The first one was the classic, like, you got it in the front of the net, snipe, goodbye, done. The second one was like off, banking it from like behind the net. We thought it was Tavares' goal. Third one, he goes crashing to the net. Like, his bag is absolutely overflowing right now.
Yeah, he's finding ways to score in like different ways, and that's really nice to see. Like we said last time as well. In the Habs game on the 6-on-4 or 6-on-5 goal, the first one, he scored from pretty much where the goal line is. And he just surprised the Habs goalie with a quick shot, and he did the same thing again today, like with Gustafsson on what was thought to be Tavares' goal. He just has that quick release that's super deceptive, and he can just score from anywhere. Like, being a threat when you're pretty much at the goal line is crazy. Yeah. And Matthews just knows how to score from everywhere. He's super deceptive with his decision making and his shot, and it's it's incredible to see. I mean, back-to-back hat tricks is nuts.
back to hat tricks. All right, we'll work on that one. That
was a bit rough.
Our old friend in Mikey's lab, our old pal, saying Matthews is tired of people saying Mick overrated is better than him. Who do you think he's referring to?
I don't know.
Who's Mick overrated?
I don't know if we can get into that. He just had a 150-point season.
No, I mean, look. I still think everyone is going for second place. It's like the 90s in Michael Jordan. Like when Michael Jordan was around or Gretzky was around. And second place is okay. There's a lot of great talent in the league. He's there.
Matthews is like definitely in the conversation. I think a lot of people after last season were down on him just because he had it was a 40-goal season. It's not exactly stellar as his 60-goal season, but he was playing injured, and I think it's safe to say that he's no longer playing injured. And
knock on wood, knock on whatever material this desk is right now, because he started the season, he got completely like cracked in the ribs. I'm convinced he had broken ribs or something like that, because I don't know, has anybody ever had injured ribs? It's not fun. You can't breathe. It's not you put ice on it. You cannot breathe without being in pain. So, I mean, he also has surgically repaired wrists. So, we hope those things.
It's the hand injuries that I was worried about, but
because of touch, right? But now
doesn't even look like he missed a step, man. He's filthy.
And and they're talking about the last, So Ovi, you were saying about Ovi, and I think he's the modern day Ovi. Well, not the modern day Ovi. Ovi's still around.
He's the best goal scorer in the league right now.
He's the heir apparent to Ovechkin. They have such similar games. Hopefully not similar playoff trajectories. I'd like him to win
he won a cup
before the 13th season and hit the career, right? Because not everyone can stay good until their 13th season, right? He probably will, but the greats do. But a little sooner than that. We need it a little sooner. But honestly, though, I'm glad we won. At least we got that first round win, because I know it wasn't enough. I wasn't satisfied with Florida.
Let's not get into the playoffs.
No.
It's game 2.
What I'm trying to say is that we gotta appreciate Auston Matthews now, because I honestly think, I was thinking about this. He might be the most talented athlete that's ever set foot in Toronto. Kawhi Leonard existed.
Good question.
Kawhi Leonard existed, right? He won a championship pretty much on his back. But he was kind of an anomaly. He came and he went. He was a mercenary. As far as guys that are here, man, I don't know. Batista, you're talking Kyle Lowry, you're talking Matt Sundin. He's the greatest Leaf of all time already.
Oh yeah, I mean, in terms of just pure skill, I mean, you're gonna need to get some playoff wins under your belt if you want the actual title. In terms of the fans, but in terms of just pure skill, he's definitely up there. I mean, it's ridiculous. 6 goals on 12 shots in 2 games.
That is
246 goal pace. Let's go.
For all the math nerds out there, 50% shooting percentage. So an NBA big man, basically.
Definitely not regressing to the mean. He's going to shoot 50% the entire season.
Could you
pot 250 goals? Let's be real.
He's like NHL 99 or something. He's on fire. Something like that. Another person who's on fire, not to be displaced, is a guy who is looking for money. In the Willy Nylander, he wants to become 10 mil Will, okay? Maybe more than 10 mil Will, whoops. And in the words of Rihanna, he's saying, Brad better have my money. Don't make me ask you twice. He's going to score goals and do this after every goal. He should. I would respect him.
His first goal was so nice, man. So silky smooth.
It was nifty.
I don't care. I really want him signed, and I just don't want to lose him. He's one of my favorite Leafs. He's so nice to watch, just because he's such a smooth skater, and the way he handles the puck it's just a joy, man. He's incredible. I love William Nylander. Absolutely an offensive elite winger.
That flipping salary cap ban, I don't know. I mean, I saw people arguing about it, and it's gonna become a thing. Don't get me, I'm gonna get it started because it's gonna be a thing soon. If he's gonna be on a 50-goal pace, which is not out of the question, I honestly think he might be. He has the talent, he has the motivation. That discussion's coming, guys. Get ready for the insufferable discussion of, wow, where's he going to play next? What's the contract? What's the contract going to look like? It's going to come, and he's going to.
Of course, it's going to happen. I mean, it always happens in Toronto. Like,
look,
we're going to have those discussions about like Tally Yarncroke in his next contract, man.
Though, because while it's amazing, I want to see all these players do well. It's like, yeah, it's gonna start that negative discussion. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
I want to have.
Yeah, but just enjoy it while you can. That's it. Just enjoy it while you can. It's a contract year. Those discussions can happen.
So you're cool with him. You're cool with him going to UFA completely.
No, I want him signed. I want him signed. I don't want him to go to UFA.
Yeah, because like to me,
I want him signed before he's eligible to talk to other teams. Yeah. Obviously,
my opinion.
That's the ideal, but
yeah, my opinion is shifting a little bit because like. Not, and there's never any personal, not any shots of like I don't like a certain player, but it's also like just doing math. And I was like, I was thinking just by process of elimination, he had to be the cap casualty to get defense in the beginning. Man, I don't know, man. Like, it's changing my tune a little bit. Like, they gotta get William Nylander and Mitch Marner in a room together and be like, here's $20 million.
Please.
Divide it amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
And stop it, okay? Because, like, you can't... I mean, you don't want to lose a guy like that. It's hard to trade a guy like that and see him pot 50 goals for the next 5 years.
Yeah, and it's pretty much impossible to trade someone when you're cap-strapped. Because teams know...
You'll never get one-for-one value.
Like, you're never going to get actual value for William Nylander.
You'll get value. Right? Like, you'll get picks.
Like, you're going to get value, but I'm saying you're not going to get...
a player.
What he's worth.
Yeah.
Because that's the point. You can't afford what he's worth. You know what I mean? So, it sucks. But, I'm worrying about that later. It's game 2.
Yeah.
William looks amazing.
Good for him. And he looks incredible. like he's like, I mean, it's hard to tell with the equipment. He looks like he's in the incredible shape. Like he looks just fast.
He looks so driven. When he messed up that really easy goal, or a really easy shot, he went back to the bench and he like slammed his stick like multiple times. And I was surprised because Willie usually is very calm, cool, and collected.
Yeah, he's Big Willie.
In terms of his personality. He's like perfect for Toronto media because he's very much just brush off the shoulders type of thing. But after that happened, it was cool to see. It was cool to see him like just break his stick out of frustration because he messed up an easy play. And then later on he messed up another pretty simple play, but then gets the rush chance on his second goal and makes no mistakes. Snipe show. Like perfect shot after Klingberg sends him on a rush chance. And like, yeah, Willie wants it. You can tell Willie wants it.
Yeah.
It's great to see. And, in a contract year, he's obviously extra motivated like every NHL player is on contract years. And I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see it. Yeah, get that bag.
Get the bag. All right, man.
It, which he certainly does. Get that bag.
The yams, all right? Listen. Okay, so like that's a good point you brought up. It's going to lead me into my next point that I saw from this game. I love that because like I think we were criticizing the fact that these guys like maybe like in the playoffs didn't show a lot of emotion, saying like, "Oh well, we lost, it's fine." Like you wanted to see them pissed, right? You wanted to see that fire, and I'm seeing more than fire. I'm seeing a little bit of jam. What's the word? Jam, snot. That's the word.
Snot. Oh my god, come up so many times.
Listen, the thing about the Ryan Reeves signing, it's worth every penny. I'm telling you. Listen, it's worth every penny. He's not going to score a lot of goals. He's not going to do all the things. But listen, I made this point. I was on Clay's 12-hour live stream. Canuck Clay. Check it out, guys. He's great. He's our Game Over from Vancouver
host, yeah.
I was talking to him about this, and I said, like, everybody's worked in a workplace where, like, you wanted to work with a guy because you wanted to be alongside someone because they're just vibes. They get you going. Like, you ever work, like, or have a boss, and he's not the boss, but you ever have a boss or someone you work with that like your mood goes, let's go when you're around this person. I think that's a lot to be said about that. I we discount the intangibles and the personality and the morale part of hockey. We always think just stats and skills, but I think that intangible is gonna really help. I mean, it also helps that he's absolutely decking guys on open ice. And it was clean. That was a clean ass hit.
I think there's been some conversation about like how late his hits are, but honestly, I think all of them have been clean.
He didn't go for the head, at least. I would not be.
Yeah, no. There was no headshot.
He's not trying to hurt nobody. I believe that, but
I don't think that either of them were dirty. But I understand why people drop the gloves with him. But like the cap hit is a little high.
Yeah,
for his age. the cap hit in term is a little high for his age. That's really the only issue. The intangibles he brings, I think, are difficult to value for fans like us who aren't in the room.
We don't know. Yeah, it's
clearly Keith values it to some degree because we've heard Keith talk about how quiet the room is sometimes. Clearly Brad Treliving valued it because it's the first move he made. I was not a fan of it going into the offseason.
I was skeptical. I was like,
I was very skeptical because he's old. Yeah. Like, he's old. He's already not that good in terms of the like amount of minutes he gets.
Yeah.
He's not going to be on the ice for more than 10 minutes any game, let alone in the playoffs. But his first 2 games as a Leaf,
menace.
He has been so entertaining to watch.
Menace.
Not even just on the ice. Like, even after the Habs game when he said he had that comment about Arbor Jack Eye jumping him, that got so much play on like Reddit and Twitter about people being mad at him. It's just entertaining to watch. I loved it.
I love it.
He knows how to talk the talk, and he certainly backs it up with the hits and the fighting, man. That was a big tilt today.
With the way the Toronto market is, over under, how many endorsement deals is Ryan Reeves gonna get? He's gonna get, like, you know how Mitch Martin has like 10. Like, Ryan Reeves is about to have, I think, over under 5 endorsement deals. Cause
oh yeah, for sure. I
like,
mean,
Ty
Ilya
Domi is still
Mikheyev
doing commercials, bro. Like,
Ilya Mikheyev got commercials in Toronto. I think anyone can get commercials in Toronto. It's a pretty good market to be in if you're a good personality.
Ryan Reeves to yell in a commercial. It's like, come down to this car dealership right now. I'll punch you in the face.
But honestly, like Reeves, he's impressed me because I wasn't anticipating to like him at all, really.
Yeah. And
the fact that I have is nice to see. And just in general, that whole fourth line, I really wasn't expecting much. You know, you had David Kampf coming in, re-signed to a bit too much money, in my opinion.
Show, Noah
really
Gregor,
like him.
Noah Gregor, snipe show.
But yeah, Noah Gregor, I thought was just going to be a body on the fourth line. Like, I thought he was just, like, I wasn't really anticipating much from him in terms of, like, impact, offensive impact. The dude is so fast, and he's got a killer shot. Like, that Habs, the first shot of the first goal, like, that started that comeback, was such a nice shot, and he hit the post as well, and on another shot that game. He didn't have as big of a game tonight, obviously, but like, I really like that fourth line, and I think Keefe does as well.
Yeah.
And Revo brings something to that I think we've been lacking. You know, we've had guys who've hit a lot, like Achari, Zach Aston Reese, both hit statistically more than Reeves, like on a hit per game basis.
I don't think every hit is equal. That's the thing.
But yeah, that's the thing. Not every hit is equal, and not every hit has the same impact on the arena. Dude, that was the loudest I've heard Scotiabank Arena insult. They were doing the wave for like so long.
I love the wave.
Caught it on the broadcast. I never see that in Scotiabank, and part of that I think is
I don't even remember. I think
he's a entertainer.
Like, that's a good point, because when there's fighting in that arena, like when I worked there, like, and was at the games, I would when there was a fight, the rare times, like that Tampa Bay series, the first one, the 2022 one, that first game when there's a line brawl, the building shaking. It was like the Roman Colosseum. It's like, blood! We want blood! It was crazy. So I think that does have an impact. But moving on from Ryan Reeves, speaking of more drink, SNOT, he is the if you look at the two big acquisitions, Tyler Bertuzzi, all over the ice today, got a goal and got into a bit of, he was a little bit, he's been a little bit like, he doesn't take any crap after the whistles.
That's true.
Same with Max Domi. Max Domi got into a little bit of a tussle. Like, when I saw Domi and Reeves in the box together, I feel like Brad Living was just like, yes, my plan has come together.
Yeah, the thing about Bertuzzi and Domi that's interesting is, like, there was some conversation after we got him about, grittiness and so on and so forth. And again, hits were brought up that Bertuzzi and Domi don't actually hit that often. What makes them tough is sort of the after the whistle stuff, in my opinion. Like, they're not that tough in terms of they punish you on the forecheck or, they lay these massive hits. It's the shenanigans after that kind of make them a bit of, pests, and that's nice to have. The thing that I will say is Bertuzzi, Like, have you been a huge fan of Bertuzzi in his first 2 games?
Yeah, I kind of have been. I mean, I
Yeah.
liked, like in the Montreal game, he did like, again, he had that shenanigans after the whistle. Like a lot of people who don't like, a lot of people I know that don't care for hockey, they're like, or don't watch the sport. They're like, why the hell is this? Why did he do this? It's so weird. And I kind of agree. If you really conceptualize the after the whistle scrummage, it's like, why the
I
hell?
mean, but it's a part of the game.
Yeah,
If you
that's what I'm
don't do
saying.
it, you're gonna get your
Yeah, that's what I'm
kicked
saying.
in.
Like it's a necessary evil. I think. I mean, if you look at it from an objective 30,000-foot view, it's kind of like, the hell are we doing? But it happens, so we gotta deal with it. That's the thing. It does matter because in the playoffs, like you saw the Florida series where murder was legal and these guys were just. It was
So
literally
stupid,
like.
man. I hate that part of the
It
game.
was
but-
it was literally like West Side Story or something. It just like guys just all right, let's go. Just knuckle sandwiches everywhere. But these guys, they'll hold their own. Like Ryan Reeves.
Yeah.
If they don't, hopefully they're healthy. These three guys are gonna hold their own in these scrums.
Yeah.
So Brad Marchand, he's gonna have some competition. Matthew Tkachuk gonna have some competition. Like
What I will say
yeah.
is regarding Tyler Bertuzzi, I like him as an individual player. I was expecting him to have more initial chemistry with Matthews and Marner than he has. He's been with them since like day one of camp and throughout the preseason. And like, again, we're on game 2. Chemistry sometimes takes time to build, so I'm not like counting this out. But I do find Bertuzzi is just like a second behind Matthews and Marner. And like there was a play against the Habs where Marner was beside the net and he makes this amazing pass. Like between his own legs behind straight to Bertuzzi, but Bertuzzi just like wasn't expecting it, and it would have been a tap in, but he just couldn't get it across. And there were a couple times today where I felt he was a little step behind. I really liked him on that second power play though when he scored. I thought he was excellent on the second power play unit, and I thought Domi was also excellent on the second power play unit. But he's just one step behind Matthews and Marner each time, and Matthews and Marner are fucking excellent players, so like it doesn't really matter. But like, when we watched Bunting last year, you sort of saw that initial chemistry like already built when they first went on the ice together,
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing that just yet with Bertuzzi, so I'm interested to see what they do if they do any line juggling. I don't think it would be the time to do so, considering we're in game 2 and we've won both games. But I'm curious to see if, as the games go on, he looks more in tune with it. They just seem a little out of sync right now.
I truly believe it's going to come because if you look at the two different players that were really successful riding shotgun with those two guys, you're talking about Michael Bunting and you're talking about Zach Hyman. And, they're all kind of similar players in the sense of like they're grinders and they're.
And I would argue Tyler Bertuzzi is more skilled than both of those players, like in terms of just pure skill.
I think he knows. Yeah, I think it'll come. I think that's a little bit like. I think that's just early season stuff. Again, the beginning, like preseason of the first month, we might as well be just talking to air because we don't even know. Like,
yeah, like you never know. Like it is like a crazy like when you watch that Habs game, like the first game, it was so sloppy. It was probably everything Keefe didn't want to see. Like, when Brody was like, fell down on the first, like
he's chewing Tums all game. He's like, can't do
this game was a lot better than last game in terms of sloppiness. So, they're already kind of getting into it in terms of getting into the rhythm of things. So obviously, we're in game 2. There's nothing to really evaluate as much right now. But I just thought it was interesting that Bertuzzi has always been on that line, that Matthews-Marner line. And every other line has sort of mixed and matched throughout the preseason to like, just see what the chemistry is like. Domi started on the second line, but on the third period, Yarncroke moved up to the second line and he was with the kids. And like, it's just interesting to me that they didn't have that initial chemistry. And you see other players like, Minten and Nyes, they went out in the preseason playing like their first game together and they were instantly super in sync with each other. And, for some people that happens instantly, it takes a little while to build. But I'm curious, what's that leash like for Bertuzzi? Because, he's getting paid the most out of all of our acquisitions this year. Yeah. We're expecting him to be that good, right? Yeah, and so that's why he's in this position right now. Bunting had to earn that because he was getting, it wasn't a given that he would have. He would be put in that position.
Undrafted player. I think Tyler Bertuzzi was a first rounder, wasn't he?
I have no idea, honestly, about
I think he was.
Bertuzzi.
Somebody,
I'm pretty
chat,
sure. I mean,
pull that up, chat.
I'm 90% sure he was a first rounder.
I'm pretty sure, like in the same Nylander in the Nylander draft.
Oh no, he wasn't. He was 58th overall in 2013.
No shit. Okay, I was wrong. Maybe
But still,
probably think of somebody else.
But like he's had multiple high point seasons, like I think 60-point seasons before, so or at least 50. So like there's that expectation there with Tyler Bertuzzi that he will fit into that role, and that's what we got him here for. I just haven't seen the initial chemistry. I'm sure it'll come though. I'm positive it'll come.
All right. So you mentioned about the Minten and Nyes line, and with Kalle Yarncrook, I like to call it Dad and the Two Boys line, because like again, workshopping it. Like I'm gonna be hilarious by the midseason. So let me tell you that. But listen, what do you think? Like Fraser Minten was very noticeable this game. He was getting his chances.
Oh,
like
Nyes.
You think? Yeah, Matthew Nyes he's a tank. There's no like he's a
yeah. He was expected. Minten came out of nowhere for everyone.
I had no clue. Like I mean, like I don't watch a lot of preseason hockey, but like I had no clue. Like I was like, he's on the team. That's okay. Let's see.
He was excellent in the preseason
last season, and like I noticed him a lot. Like, do you think that they're going to be bold and say, you know what, you're sticking around instead of sending him back to junior? Because
listen, they traded Lafferty pretty much to keep him, is what I think happened, right? So I do think that the organization views him in a very high light. He's 19 years old though, and he can't play in the AHL because he's 19. So if we send him down, he's going back to junior, which is a stupid rule, but it is the way it is.
He can play in the NHL or he can play in junior, but not in between.
Yeah, it's to keep the talent in the CHL. So
yeah, I guess so.
Why I think everyone was surprised is he hasn't exactly like been super productive in the WHL. So no one's really expecting someone who's like a point per game player in the WHL to make that jump to the NHL within, one off season. But what Minten brings and what is different with like Fraser Minten compared to like a Nick Robertson, who's probably far more productive, is that he can play a bottom six role really well, and he's a centerman, and he's got some pretty good size, and he's shown he can keep up with the pace of NHL play. The first game he had against the Habs, that first two periods, I think he was his worst in terms of, it was a clear, stark difference between preseason pace and regular season pace. But by that third period in the Habs game, I thought he was pretty excellent in terms of, getting into the rhythm and the flow of things and working with Nyes in such an interesting manner. They work so well together. In this game, he really impressed me as well. Fraser Minten is surprisingly an NHL player already. And I was not expecting that at all. Not when he was drafted. Not when I read all the scouting reports, not when I saw his stats in the WHL and his draft plus 1 year. Going into this season, he was not on my radar at all. And I don't think he was on Keith's radar at all. I don't think he was in any of the Toronto organization's radar at all. So the fact that he came in, had such a good camp, had such a good preseason, had showcased so much maturity and intensity in his game that he was able to be a third line center and stick it through 2 wins and look good is really nice to see. So it's kind of shitty though, because like we're looking at all of Dubas's picks now sort of flourish, and he's not even with the organization anymore, which is like fine, that's how it is. But
it is what
I think Dubas actually did like a really good job with our draft, and I'm very excited to see the way our prospects kind of build their way into their roster now.
He nailed 2 picks in like back-to-back drafts. TBD on Nick Robertson, but in those late picks, he's nailed them in the forward group. I don't know. They have to hire a defenseman scouting specialist. Just all he does is scout defensemen. But
I mean, I'm sure they do.
Yeah, no, I know what I'm saying. But like their track record, there's no guys really in the pipeline. I mean, maybe there's somebody that's going to come out of nowhere.
There are. The AHL. Okay, watch the Marlies this year because they've got some interesting prospects in the pipeline here. Topi Niemelä is now in the AHL.
I know Topi Niemelä, yeah.
Really like him. And Mikko Kokkonen is now on my radar far more than he has ever been as a prospect. Okay. I thought he had a really good preseason as well. So he's another guy to keep an eye out on. Both Finnish players, but they're both playing in the AHL now. So but like, I really like it.
I mean,
someone said Minten needs to put on 10 pounds of muscle. That's like the one thing I agree with. He's like six. He's a big person in terms of like height. I think he's like 6'3" or something like that.
Oh, jeez.
But he's 6'2" or 6'3", but he's sitting at like 192, which isn't small, and that's why I think he can stick it in the NHL.
I don't understand.
But for 6'2", he can fill his frame a little more and be like 200 pounds and really, really, really like look like a beast out there. But he's good already, man. Like that's a solid size for such a young kid.
Why is it so hard for these young people to gain weight? You know how easily I gained weight when I was 19? Jeez. No, I'm just...
The difference between fat and muscle.
Bro, let me tell you. No, I mean, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
but
no.
You see me play soccer, bro. I'm fast. My big. You see me play soccer. I can run up and down the field.
I gained like 10 pounds between like measuring myself one time because like I didn't really step on the scale for like a few months, and then I stepped on it and I was like 10 pounds heavier, and I was like, oh Jesus Christ.
Stay away from that damn thing. I look at it and I'm like, no, not today, Satan. But to your point about these young guys, that's how you win cups, because the core four and everybody up front, like, they're gonna suck up all the money and all that attention. But to fill out, like, you need the bottom six line, you need guys around them, and that's how you're gonna find them. And those late draft gems, I'm really liking to see them flourish. Like, Matthew Nyes is an absolute tank. I cannot wait to see what he can bring this season. Yep. I think the goals are gonna come for him, and I really hope it's him and Minten. Like, that is.
They both almost scored today. They both almost scored today.
Yeah,
they're both excellent.
Jumped off the screen to me, yeah.
Yeah, like I agree. Like, you know, I love watching kid lines on other teams. When Capo Caco and Philip Hedel and Lafreniere were on the Rangers third line, that was one of the most exciting lines in hockey for me. Just to see, you know, the creativity and the you know, youthful energy that they had in terms of like the rush chances they generated. You can see that with Fraser Minten and Matthew Nyes. Now, obviously, I'm not comparing the two. You know, one's a first overall and a second overall, and we're talking about 2 second rounders here. But the level of play, the level of intensity at which they play with, the drive, the competitiveness, the ability to penalty kill is so important within that middle six role. And you know, seeing them flourish in that role is really nice to see, and I'm excited for what's to come. There are prospects knocking at the door as well. Like, you know, we're talking about Fraser Minten and Matthew Nyes, but you know, Pontus Holmberg is in the AHL. Bobby McMahon, he's like 27, but he's in the AHL, and he's had a really good first game. Nick Robertson is in the AHL. There are people knocking at the door here, and a lot of them are very young, and it's very interesting to see who will be the ones to make it on the team. I think there's a lot of talent within the AHL now that are very close to NHL ready. So I'm really excited to see where Fraser Minten, Matthew Nyes, and the rest of our prospects take us, because there are very few spots open, and there's a lot of competition there. So I'm excited to see who comes out on top.
Totally. Okay, so before we go, I mean, I got a couple things. So one thing that I gotta say though, the Leafs are still butter soft in front of their own net, and a lot of people are talking in the chat. People are saying that, you know, they have faith that Brad Treliving. He's literally openly said he doesn't like the defense, so he said it. Like people say he has a vision. I actually believe. I think he's a great guy in the media. I think he's a cool dude. He seems pretty nice. Yeah. But
I love his interviews. Yeah.
You know what? He doesn't need the money. That's the funny thing. The guy's just like out here is like, I like to be a hockey GM, so that's a plus too. But he got that Boston pizza money rolling in. But no, like people are looking for grit, and I think that's what they're gonna. I think that's gonna be the number one on the wish list for sure. What were you gonna say? What do you think about the softness in front of the net?
Okay, so there's a couple things. I think it's part of being early in the season. That's the first thing. But it's what I read that was interesting, and Justin Bourne had an article on this back in mid preseason, that the Leafs defensive structure has sort of shifted from last year. So the Leafs this year, from what we can tell, have a new defensive zone structure, and I think that's partly a symptom, like the weak net front play is partly a symptom of that. So in prior years, we went from like zone coverage, and then this year we're doing sort of a hybrid man-on-man coverage. So like essentially what that means is in prior years when the puck were to go up along the wall high into the zone, the defenseman would curl back and let the centerman take it like from the hash marks. They would switch positions, right? It's they would switch and then the centerman would go to defend the high zone. Whereas now you'll see you saw this a lot in preseason and in the Habs game and in this game, the defender will follow through and take that forward man-to-man high and leave the centerman to take the net front position.
Yeah.
And that's a fine strategy. There's benefits and there's cons to both sides. The benefit to doing this man-on-man strategy is you have more interactions with the puck. You can turn over the puck. You can force turnovers far more often because you're, staying with the man up high.
And at least
there's also less
transition. They're dangerous in transition. So if you get those guys space, you get William Nylander some space, he's going to do something with it, right? So
yeah, and there's less confusion in terms of like man coverage versus zone coverage. But then there's the con in that the centerman is now net front, and you can get caught because now the centerman is like your center is defending in the net front, which is not something that they're necessarily good at.
Yeah.
Now it's entirely dependent on your personnel. Like Vegas last year used zone coverage, but Tampa and their 2 cup runs used man-to-man coverage, but now Tampa is moving to zone coverage, and it's entirely dependent on who you have within your roster and what works and what doesn't. Now we have our centerman depth is like Matthews, Tavares, Minten, Kampf, right?
Pretty good.
Matthews and Kampf, I'm not too worried about. They're big boys and they're very defensively responsible. Tavares and Minten, it's a little bigger of an
daunting task for some. It's
a very daunting task, especially for Fraser Minten.
Like, ooh, yeah,
exactly.
Poor kid, man.
And you saw it on the Habs. I want to say their 4th goal. Klingberg went up the to cover that man, and Tavares was net front, and he lost inside position on New Hook, and it was an easy tip into the net. And you saw it on the first Wild goal today. Matthews was stuck in the net front, and I'm forgetting who scored the first goal. I want to say it was Hartman. I'm not entirely sure who scored the first goal. Yeah, it was Hartman.
Yeah, it was Hartman.
Matthews was in front of Hartman in the net front, but then he sort of went for like a block rather than tying up the man, which was a stupid decision in my eyes, because if you tie up the man, Samsonov hasn't. The shot was from so far out. Samsonov's stopping that like 99 times out of 100 if it doesn't get tipped, Yeah. So it was weird that Matthews went for the block, but those are sort of growing pains of adapting to a new defensive structure. Those are things that I don't expect to see 10 games from now, but because it's sort of a new structure, because it's a new system that they're doing defensively, I can see it happening more often, within the early parts of the season. And, sometimes it works. I noticed that, a couple times it resulted in turnovers, the system. But when you're, caught against a team like Minnesota, who does have pretty solid puck movement, they can catch you slipping, pretty easily. And it's an easy tip. And, Samsonov hasn't been all that good to start the season, but those goals are pretty much impossible to stop. There was a double deflection on that first goal.
Yeah, I mean, it was like pinball. It was like ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't stop a pinball, right?
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that defensive system develops. I am very curious to see how we fare in terms of how our defensive coverage is. The defensive system, I think, was a big concern going into the season for quite a few people, losing out on guys like Luke Shen and Justin Hall. Not that he was any good.
Yeah.
but you know what I mean.
A couple times I thought John Klingberg was Justin Hall, and I'm like, wow, Justin Hall can really move.
You can really move the puck. Yeah.
Jeez.
Klingberg's been so good too. But yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes. I am a fan of that system so far, but it has resulted in 2 pretty easy goals against because our centermen just aren't necessarily equipped or used to dealing with that. And they've been kind of eaten alive up front these past 2 games. I do expect that to improve, though. New system, these things happen.
Totally. Well, hey, they're 2-0. They're 2-0. So hey, they don't ask how, they ask how many. Sometimes they ask how, though. That's our job. We ask how. One more thing. Talking
about the goal songs.
I'm gonna say this for the last time. Who cares about the damn goal song? I don't care. They can play Sarah McLachlan. I don't care. Just in the arms of an angel every time.
Did you like Hall & Oates?
At first I did. I thought it was kitschy. I thought it was fun. And then I'm like, okay, whatever. She got to change it. It's a little annoying.
I really enjoyed Hall & Oates just because it was like funny. But yeah, I agree. Like, you know, it gets to a point where you kind of have to change it just for the culture in the room.
Play nothing.
There was
I don't care. Play nothing.
A hilarious. So Nick Alberga tweeted today that "Pursuit of Happiness," which was played in the Habs game as the goal song, is now out of the goal song rotation because the Leafs received some complaints about the song's message and lyrics.
What?
Which I just thought was hilarious.
Are you serious?
I was paying attention to the lyrics of a goal song.
The lyrics, it's not even, it's the Steve Aoki version. It goes,
I know.
That's all I hear. I know the lyrics. I'm a big fan. I love Kid Cudi. I was a big fan of him. I saw that song live. I
died laughing when I saw that.
It's a great song. I saw that song live. I seen him in concert.
Honestly,
live.
yeah. Even the goal song today, I don't know what it's called. But I don't care, man. It's a goal song. Like it is what it is. Like it was fine to me. Like it sounded like a goal song. It was like house music. So I don't know.
Ken brings up a good point. I endorse this. Ken M says at this point they should play Vanessa Carlton's 1,000 Miles to get the bros singing.
Yeah, dude, I'm down.
Bro, I'm calling MLSE right now. I'm calling them right now. I have contacts. I'll put in a word.
I just love how much of a talking point that's been.
It's Toronto, man. Like
like how much of a talking point the song we play after we score is. I love it.
They don't talk about this shit in Arizona. Toronto. They talk about where are we gonna play next year.
Jeez. How are you gonna do them like that?
I know, I'm sorry. That's bad. All right. So, guys, hey, thanks for tuning in for the first time. This was our first stream of the night. Totally our first stream of the night. Thanks for tuning in.
We definitely didn't have.
Thanks for we appreciate all your patience with our tech because sometimes you're dealing with 2 remote locations, dealing with some tough internet. You're dealing with a software that some may or may not hate us, but we really appreciate you guys. Showing up and the really good crowd here. Thanks for commenting, all the regulars here and the new people. My name's Fouad Suleiman. We got Armaan over here. And we got Connor Bedard Mania coming to town. How did he do? I didn't see the Habs game. Did he do well against Montreal?
I have no idea how he did against Montreal.
Chat, help me out
today,
here.
But he had a great game against Pittsburgh and I forgot who else he played against. Boston, I think.
I want to see what the resale value on those tickets have got to be. I mean, I want to.
Dude, we're playing him tomorrow. I mean, we're playing him Monday.
I want to see what those tickets are like. Probably insane.
I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
Maybe Matthews will get another hat trick. Imagine back to back hat tricks. I have him in fantasy, by the way. Our game over fantasy league.
You got him in fantasy?
Yeah.
I like my
this
team.
guy. I picked him. I love my team. I have 5 different Leaf players. Which
I have none.
Some would say is stupid. Some would say it's stupid to get 5 people from the same team.
I have none.
But
I have 0 Leafs. And my name was Toronto Maple Leaves, like the actual grammatical.
You gotta get the Leafs, man. I reach for every single Leaf anytime I have fantasy drafting. Every time. Gladly. Man. I picked Domi pretty high up for some reason. That was a stupid move. But you know what? Worth it.
You know what? I
gotta support them.
I got Owen Power in like the 8th round. Like he was just sitting there. I'm like, oh crap, Owen Power. And I renamed my team. One man should have all that power.
Yeah,
and
that's a great.
So happy. I'm like, oh, that is.
Line.
I patted myself on the back all night. My arm hurt. Anyway,
speaking of goal songs, though, I wish we did what Buffalo did and have individual players pick their goal songs.
I'd love that.
Did you see Jeff Skinner's? It was Breaking Free from High School Musical.
That's the thing. And whoever does a troll one, I like them more.
Yeah,
like who was it? I think it was TJ.
I'd be so down.
What TJ Oshie on Washington? He had "Country Roads" by John Denver. It was like, and
a great song.
They scored in overtime in the playoffs.
Great song.
And it's, "Country roads, take me home to the place that I belong." Anyway, this has gone on way too long here. No, we're just shooting the shit here. But guys, thanks again. Thanks for sticking with us, and we love to. We love to hear from you guys. Taylor Scott says Kid Cudi sucks. That is not true, but it's ironic.
That's the comment you picked out.
No, but it's ironic because Scott is Kid Cudi's first name. So, boom!
Oh, it is, yeah.
Irony. There you go. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Who's on the next stream? Monday, October 16th. Connor Bedard comes to town. I think it's Lauren and we have Kyle Cushman coming on.
Yes, sir.
To break
I'm excited.
down all
Curious what his
players
thoughts are
you've
on
never
Bednar.
heard of before, but he does because he is a master scout. Thank you so much again, and have a good night, everybody, and keep on rocking in the free world and doot doodle doot doot.